High blood pressure is often called idiopathic high blood pressure. What that essentially means is the doctor cannot find any reason why you have high blood pressure. But in this video, I'm going to give you some clues and things you might want to ask your doctor. Is this contributing to my blood pressure, and how do we solve it? So stick around, we're going to give you all the details. Now, the joke about idiopathic disease is it actually can be broken down to idiot and pathetic. When a doctor says you have an idiopathic disease, it means he's an idiot and pathetic. And of course, that's just a joke. But what does idiopathic really mean? It means the doctors just put up their hands and go, I don't know. There's a lot of causes of high blood pressure, and that's what makes high blood pressure such a difficult condition to deal with and really get at the root cause. That's why it's so much easier to just say, just take medications, it'll lower your numbers. So it behooves us to try to deal with the actual root cause of high blood pressure. And I'm going to give you a list here of just some common things that can cause high blood pressure. I'm going to omit a lot of things that cause high blood pressure because I'm assuming you're pretty smart and you know what you're doing. I don't have to tell you that smoking causes high blood pressure. You should know that. That should be a no-brainer. So I'm going to omit some obvious things, and these are things that in this video may not be so obvious. Number one is high blood sugar. If you are starting to get older and you have been eating kind of a crappy diet most of your life, your body is going to have a hard time dealing with, and it's just going to break down. It's just like if you had a brand new car and you parked it outside all the time in the sun and the rain and the snow. Eventually, over time, the paint is gonna start deteriorating. Well, if you eat a high carbohydrate diet or a diet full of just terrible food, then over a period of time, your body is gonna start to break down, particularly the blood vessels, and you're gonna develop chronic inflammation. And what this means is your body internally is inflamed. It's almost like you sprained your ankle, but instead of that redness and swelling and inflammation, it's not happening at your ankle, it's happening inside your arteries. It starts to damage your arteries, and then your arteries start to become less pliable and a lot more stiff. And when they're stiff, the blood, when your heart beats and it goes through the arteries, they don't have this pliability that they normally should have. This is how high blood sugar leads to high blood pressure. Number two, an imbalance between the HDLs and LDLs and VLDLs. The HDLs are the high density lipoproteins, and those are what you want to call the good ones. The LDLs are the bad ones. If you have high LDLs and low HDLs, then that is bad. The reason why is because that later starts to create an inflammatory condition, and now you've got strike two. Essentially, you're starting to develop more of a chronic inflammatory condition, damaging your arteries and thus raising your blood pressure. Number three, a large waist size. As you get older, most people's waist size start to get bigger. They don't fit in the screen. It needs to get smaller. So as you start to lose weight, as you start to eat better, and your waist size goes down, the risk factor for high blood pressure goes down. The reason why this is because fat requires nutrients. Fat, when your body starts to develop more fat, particularly around the waistline, your body is going to be forming new blood vessels to supply nutrients and blood to those fat cells. The heart has to work harder to profuse blood to all these new tissues. The less tissue there is on your body, the easier it is for your heart to work. The fourth and final thing that will contribute towards improving your blood pressure, or lack of it will contribute to raising your blood pressure, is exercise. There is a tremendous amount of confusion regarding which type of exercise to use, and also most people are trying to solve their blood pressure problems simply through diet, and exercise, quite frankly, is such an easy thing to do because the great news is you don't have to exercise super hard. You don't have to go to a gym. You don't have to spend gobs of money on equipment, because the best exercise for your cardiovascular system is, quite frankly, walking, which everyone can do. Now, sure, there's other types of exercises that are beneficial, but in simple terms, if you were to go for a walk every single day, whether it's 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, ideally it would be nice if everybody can walk an hour a day. That's not always realistic, but the closer you can get to that, the better off you're going to be. The reason exercise is so important is not necessarily because of what you think. It's actually hormonal. When you exercise, your body produces certain hormones that will mobilize fat, maintain your lean body tissue, meaning your muscles and your bones, and most importantly, will reduce stress, because the cortisol that's produced by our body when our body is really stressed can raise our blood pressure chronically and create chronic inflammation. So by simply walking every day 10, 20, 30, 40, 60 minutes, you are having all these benefits, and thus it reduces your blood pressure. So the sponsor of today's video is Nature's Pure Blend, and they have a product called nitric oxide flow. And what this has are some amino acids, L-arginine and L-citrulline, that are the constituents that allow our body to produce more nitric oxide. So if you want to have better blood pressure, which, let's face it, who doesn't, you need to supply the nutrients necessary for our body to raise the nitric oxide levels in the blood vessels. So by taking this type of product, you can significantly lower your blood pressure. So there will be a link down in the description where you can actually look at this product and see if it's right for you.